I'm gonna be on it.
Our big story here at 6:30, a second arrest has been made in the case of an 18-month-old baby who was shot to death inside her home in Palm Coast. This happened back in September, and her uncle was arrested on a probation violation back then.
In November, a grand jury indicted him on manslaughter charges. Well, today we learned his father has been arrested too. Fox 35's Chris Lindsay explains why.
People here are at a loss for words after hearing the suspect's father allegedly tried to help him cover up what happened. The sheriff, on the other hand, was not surprised at all.
This case is a prime example that the apple didn't fall far from the tree.
Like father, like son. Sheriff Rick Staley says,
During the investigation, it became apparent the crime scene had been tampered with.
When 21-year-old CJ Nelson Jr. allegedly shot and killed his 18-month-old niece, investigators believe he called his dad, CJ Nelson Sr., for help.
He provided instructions on how to stage the scene, using a T-shirt to prevent and wipe off fingerprints, instructed witnesses to provide an alibi for himself and his son.
Nelson Sr. was arrested at the jail on Friday while putting money in his son's inmate account. He's been charged with tampering with evidence and providing false information to a law enforcement officer.
But that's not being a good parent. Hold your kids accountable.
At first, the younger Nelson was arrested for violating probation. He was later charged with manslaughter with a firearm. People who live near the now empty home are still trying to make sense of it all.
I can't wrap my head around it, so it is good to know that headway is being made in the case. Knowing that a small child was involved, it was heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking.
Nelson Sr. was released on a $15,000 bond, and the sheriff says he's looking into ways to get that revoked. He also says there could be other arrests in this case. Reporting in Palm Coast, Chris Lindsay, Fox 35 News.
Well, deputies believe the shooting was an accident, but since the younger Nelson is a convicted felon who shouldn't have had a gun in the first place, they're charging him with
I'm gonna be on it.